Okay, so for the second time, this is let's retro reviews. The Wire. Here we go again. Let's go.
Ain't it obvious? I just got the check for depositing. $750 for the sound wave to get it processed. Won't stop till that shit weighing down my pockets. My main thing, still my main thing. She a blossom. When she ease the pain with the brain, she a doctor. She open up, then a thing thicker than the plot gets. Swear that shit is awesome. Sight for the optics. Young nigga on top. Nike's all I'm rocking, so that all they see is checks from where the head to where the socks fit. No logo on the bifocal, flicking no roach tips. Won't even show my face until all the shows book. Need the cash in advance, leave them all social. I'm the guy they chosen. Rise up like the rose and put them on a poster. All the way up in the sky where the stars posted. Sip it on that rose, I put it down on coasters. Stack francs from the waves till I own the ocean. More praises for the sayings, let it all soak in. They like, hey, that shit is flame, bitch, I know I rode it. Going tight.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is EBBIE with EBBIE Reviews, and this is going to be my retro review for The Wire Season 1, Episode 6. This episode is literally called The Wire. Baby, we not even gonna get into what all I had to go through and how I've done this before. And I was real cute when I did it before. Let me put some lip gloss on so I can match my cuteness from the previous video. I'm in my feelings about it. I really am. I just really, let's be bougie. Let's use a little Fenty this time. There we go. All right. Okay, Fenty. Okay, let me get my life together. All right, so we start with a dead body that is sprawled across a car like they've been crucified. And come to find out, it is Omar's boyfriend, Brandon. Brandon, who in the last episode was playing pinball machines at the Greek bodega that Wallace spotted, and then they called D'Angelo about. That Brandon. He's beaten and bruised and burned, and his eye is gout, bulging out. Like, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. We then go up above Brandon's body to an orange extension cord, which we follow across the projects into an abandoned apartment where Wallace and Poot are living. And not only are they living there, they have about 6 kids that they are taking care of that are living there too. I'm assuming that their parents are fiends, or they just, I don't know, or they're their brothers and sisters. I'm not exactly sure. But Wallace gets them up and get them ready for school. He gets them a little snack for breakfast. There's not enough for all of them. He has to tell the last baby to share with brothers and sisters. And he tells them to get to school. They have to come to school. Otherwise, if the truant officer comes looking for them because they're not in school, then they go into foster care. And they don't want to go to foster care. So keep the family together. Do what you're supposed to do. Be in school. Be aware. All of those good things. First, and then Pooh and Wallace is at the crime scene, and they talk about it like, that's him. Yes, that's him. They recognize that it's Brandon, the boy they called about. And we see McNulty talking to the major. The major expects him to be finished with this detail and back on rotation within the next week. That is not possible. They got too many things going on, but the major doesn't care. He is a dick, and listen, he just on that bullshit. He's really on that bullshit. So D'Angelo is picking out an outfit, taking 20 years to get dressed. Well, God knows what. The little stripper girl is in his kitchen. They clearly are, I don't know if they just fucking, they got a relationship going or what. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but clearly she the side chick, because when she talked to him about his baby mama, he was like, she want a ring, she want a house, she want a car, she want all these things. And the stripper don't need all that. She's like, I'm just here for dick and some cash. That's pretty much all. So we back down in the basement listening to wiretaps off the payphone, but they can only use the wiretaps. They can only use the recorded conversations off the wiretaps if somebody is actually monitoring the call, that we can actually see who's on the call. So to identify who is talking to whom, which doesn't make any, defeats the purpose of I don't know. I guess so that the person can't say, no, that's not me on the phone call would be my guess. That would be my guess. So McNulty gets a call about Brandon, and he arrives at the crime scene. They tortured this boy and left him for everybody to see. And they're waiting for the crime scene lab because apparently some big muckety muck in the rich side of town is got some patio furniture stolen, and so all the crime scene people are over at his house instead of working actual crimes. You know, the caucasity of it all. Okay, so Wallace is upset, and D'Angelo tries to help him and tells him to just let it go. D'Angelo goes to use the payphone, and Carver calls Freeman because Carver is watching. Herc is watching the payphones, and he see Bodie. And he calls Carver, and he was like, "Yeah, you will never guess who is at the low rises again." And he was like, "I know you lying. This nigga just can't stay at juvie." Listen, they are unaware that wait, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I moved too fast. So D'Angelo goes to use a payphone. Carver calls Freeman so they can monitor his call. They listen to a call from Stringer Bell asking about Bodie and if Bodie got enough promise because they're going to bring him home, which means they're going to get their lawyers, put it behind him so he don't stay in juvie behind fighting that cop when the cops busted in on him. And D'Angelo's like, yeah, it's whatever. Bring him home. So McNulty tells Greggs they got to find Omar because they know Omar finna go apeshit when he figure out that his boyfriend got murdered. In the court, this is where we get Bodie. Bodie is with the Barksdale lawyers, and they say they should let Bodie out on good behavior. They're going to put him on house arrest and ankle monitoring. And they said, well, unfortunately, his grandmother lives on a fixed income. She can't afford a house phone. So if we could just call in to report every so often, then we can do that. So they decide to do that. Bubbles and Johnny see each other at this little fresh market. Johnny wants to steal the copper from the copper house while Bubbles is trying to make an honest hustle. Now, Bodie is back at the low rises. And this is when Herc calls Carver to tell him that Bodie is back in the low rises. And they are both pissed because they are unaware that he has gone to court and gotten out legitimately. They think he left out of juvie yet again. So, Herc and Carver jump on Bodie, but he tells them he's home legitimate, and gives them the paperwork to show that he's supposed to be, that he got out his court paperwork. And then he asks them to give him a ride to his grandmother's house, which they do. Now, D'Angelo runs up on Cass, who's one of the little hoppers from the crew. And asks where she get money for groceries because it's at the end of the month. And he knows he hasn't paid them. And so he lets her know that he knows that what she's been doing, which apparently has been stealing. The major wants warrants for D'Angelo for the 4 murders that day, even though there is not enough evidence for D'Angelo to be arrested. And there's not enough evidence. And knowing that if they put everything that they found, the information that they have and how they got the information, will derail that detail on the Barksdale crew. He don't give a damn about any of that. He just wants his way. Like I said, he's a dick. So, D'Angelo and his crew, he's reassigned Cass and the other young boy for stealing. He's now made them lookouts. And he rearranges assignments. Now, we back in the basement with Freeman, McNulty, and Greggs. Lieutenant Daniels come in. And Detective Polk is drunk again. Detective Polk is the other older white man. You know, the one that got beat up by Bodie. Him and those two will get together. And they always drunk. So now that he's by himself, he really doesn't want to do this. So Lieutenant Daniels come in and brings him in the office. He's like, where have you been for the last 2 weeks? And he starts hemming and hawing and giving him some bullshit ass excuse. He's like, you've been drunk, you stay drunk, you always drunk. He was like, well, just let me go back to my old job. He's like, no, I don't dump people, so I'm not going to dump you. So here, I'm going to give you 2 choices. You either put in your paperwork to retire, or you go to rehab and dry the fuck out. And or you get your ass on this roof. That's what you do. What you want to do. So Lieutenant Polk decides to go to rehab and dry out. Now they're talking about how Rawls is fucking up this case. That's Greg and McNulty and Freeman are having this conversation about how Lieutenant and Bunk comes to tell him what Rawls is trying to do. And so now McNulty is pissed. And so they decide to tell Daniels to get him to stop. Bubbles, Johnny, and whoever the third guy is, I think his name was Lavelle, run this heist on the this plumber leaving the copper place. So Johnny pretends to get hit by the truck and fall down, and while the driver is distracted, Bubbles and Lavelle steal all the copper out the back of the truck. They then go and turn around and sell that copper to some guy, a construction man. And then they get all the dope that they need. And I'm just going to finish this part out. They get all the dope that they need. They say, oh, and they was talking because the guy who they sold the copper to lowballed them. He was like, we going to wait till they put all that copper in, and right before the drywall goes up, we going to go back in and steal that copper again and sell it to somebody else. 30 cents a damn foot. Woo-woo. So, we'll get back to them in a minute. So, Avon and Stringer come to the low rises. Wallace is not okay with what happened to Brandon, but because Angelo promised, he put a price on them people's head and they got them, he goes to pay them out. So he pays $500 to D'Angelo, $500 to Wallace for calling, $500 to Bird and Stinkum because they actually did the hit. And Wallace it just goes to show that Wallace is an actual child. There's still some of the innocent child still left in him, because this doesn't sit right with this baby. It just doesn't. He has a conversation with D'Angelo. Well, D'Angelo first has a conversation with his uncle that everything is okay. He explains how he broke down the money, blase, bloom, blitty, blue. And then they walk out and leave. Santangelo, who's supposed to be snitching for Lieutenant Rawls, is so busy peeing on the thing, he missed the whole thing. He missed D'Angelo coming into the low rises, paying them out, having a conversation, and leaving. He missed all of that. Useless. So, I told you that Bubbles sold the copper to the construction man, and then Daniels go to see Rawls and ask him about not bringing these murder cases. Rawls is, of course, being a humongous dick about this whole situation. He don't give a fuck about nobody else's case. It's just what he wants. He's still pissed that McNulty talked to the judge, and he wants to get even. Like, cause it makes him seem like he don't know what he's doing when his cops have to go around talking to judges about shit that's going down. So, Daniels asked Rawls to do that. He's like, if you could just hold off for another couple weeks, you'll still have the same murder cases. He's like, just do it as a favor to me. He's like, oh, as a favor to you? Hell no, I'm not doing it. So, Lieutenant Rawls is a jackass. He's just a jackass. Like, I don't understand. Like, ugh. So, McNulty is playing soccer with his kids, and he gets a page from Omar. Johnny, Bubbles, and Lavelle are in the dope house getting high, and Bubble said he could use another top off, and so Johnny goes to get the dope, but on his way back he gets arrested by the cops, and Bubble see him, and he was like, "Damn, if that boy didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have no luck at all." So McNulty meets with Omar with his kids in the car. Oh, Jesus Christ. And D'Angelo is in the low rise, and Wallace asks him why he dropped Sterling and Cass. And then D'Angelo explains that, they thought we had a snitch in the group. So us not paying y'all was to flush out the snitch. But what it really flushed out was the fact that Cass and Sterling were stealing off of the package. They were they were stealing one vial off of every sale and selling it on their own to make extra money. And so he's like, and if I had told Bodie and them, they'd have took a baseball bat to Sterling and Cass, maybe worse. So I just dropped them down. And he explained his reasoning. He's trying to be a gentler. It's like, he doesn't always have to be violence. It begets violence. Sometimes it can be something else. So McNulty takes Omar upstairs and leaves his kids in the lobby to identify Brandon's body. In the morgue, Omar, listen, I know what a sound of grief sounds like. And listen, he hollered, he scared everybody in there. Oh, McNulty and Greggs ask if he's up to this, and they take him to the basement. Omar asked them what they need from him. And so they're talking about the murder of the witness Gant. And Omar says, well, everybody knows that Bird does it, and he has a special gun, and he's too stupid to come off the gun. So if you catch him with the gun, then you got him. And Greggs is like, we need more than that. We need like a witness. He's like, I'm a witness. I saw it. He's like, and Greggs was like, and you're not scared to testify in court? He's like, I'm Omar, baby. I don't scare easy. I said, oh, shit. Okay. Well, all right, Omar. So Daniels then goes to the other major that is in his debt for covering for Presby's father-in-law, and ask him for help. Because he said, if you need anything, I'll help you for helping out, for covering for Prez. So he goes to him and he's like, I can't help you. But he ends up helping him. So Rawls and Daniels are fighting over the case. Rawls wants Santan, and then Rawls loses. Rawls loses the argument in front of the big major, the black major. And so Daniels gets a month to run this case. Rawls pulls Santangelo back into office. He says he's like, I don't care if he pees when he's not supposed to, if he doesn't wash his hands after he goes to the bathroom. Whatever McNulty is doing, that's what I want to see. Because he now has even a bigger axe to grind with McNulty. If McNulty even breathes wrong. So Daniels got a month, and it cost him some of his cachet with the majors. And McNulty is like, he says thanks, real nonchalant, like that's what you were supposed to do. That's your job. You're supposed to fight for these cases, not knowing how much it cost Daniels. But Daniels didn't necessarily do it for McNulty. He did it because he saw the pictures of what happened to Brandon. And he knows that getting Avon's crew taken down will prevent more of that from happening to people, innocent people. So that is how the episode ended. Listen, this show, everything connects. There's no empty episodes. There's no filler episodes. Everything means something. Everything has a meaning. Everything is tied together. This is one of the best TV shows that has ever come on HBO or any other platform. If you haven't started watching it, start watching it. Catch up with us. Go ahead and get in the comments, drop down in the comments and tell me what you like, tell me what you didn't like. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.